The universe isn't just out there, it's interacting with you. Claim your power by embracing the unknown. This is Tracy with Tracy Talks, and I'm here to ignite your curiosity. Don't just listen, embrace it. It's a new year, and it's a good time to remind myself of some things, of practices that I want to carry forward. I'm not big on setting resolutions. I'm not big on having some big significant declaration. But when I feel that there are things that need to be changed, I'm all for trying to embrace those changes. There's this one motto that I keep in mind. I try to live by it. I'm not always perfect. I have to remind myself of it. And I know that sometimes it is a challenge to live by these rules and these standards of maintaining my own energy and my own attitude. The statement is, drop the rope. I've talked about this before, but I think it's worth talking about again. How many times do we play these games in our life with people? And it's like when you were a child and you played tug of war. We used to play that in gym class. Sometimes we played it just in the playground. You have two teams. They're divided equally. And everyone picks up the rope. Everyone on your team uses all the strength that they have to pull the rope, to pull the other team. If you have two teams that are equal, it becomes a game of who can last the longest. But it's a really great analogy. How many times do we have these experiences in our life where we are always in a tug of war with people? We're in these battles and we want to win. We want the other team to lose. We are fighting all of the time. So many times, nobody really wins. You don't get anything. You don't gain anything. You may have bragging rights, but then something else is inevitably going to come up and there's going to be another disagreement. There's going to be another battle of the wills. There's going to be another attempt to beat somebody or win or prove that you are dominant. But a term that I have adopted in the last few years is drop the rope. Just refuse to have the struggle. Refuse to explain to everyone why you're angry, why you're upset, why everybody has to change, why everybody has to do what you want them to do. Drop the rope. Stop with the power struggles. Stop with the aggression. There are times when people are aggressive, outwardly aggressive, and then there's passive aggressive. There's different levels of aggression. And in those moments, we have to remind ourselves that people are projecting, that things are going on, things are happening, feelings are happening inside. It's just becoming clear to me in so many ways that this fight for some things isn't always worth it. And to be selective on who deserves that energy and who doesn't deserve that energy. I'm less inclined these days to participate in an ongoing situation. I have learned that some things have a very definite end date, and that's okay. And it's interesting how I've been going through my cabinets lately because for whatever reason, there are things that have expired. And it always amazes me because I do this on a regular basis. So how could I have missed something? But I do. And when we look at those expiration dates on a can of food or a jug of milk, we are aware that there is an ending and a timeline, and it's only going to last for so long. And we know that with our stuff in our house, and everything has a life cycle. We're prepared for it to come to an end. But when we look at relationships with people, we take on a very different attitude. And we don't want it to end. We don't want to imagine our life differently. We don't want to imagine it without somebody. We think we can't live without somebody. I see a lot of relationships that have this constant tug of war going on. People are pulling on this rope and they're trying to get the other person onto their side, and they're trying to convince them to come over to the other side. They're trying to convince them to agree with them or see them or love them. And so many people don't want to recognize that even relationships have a life cycle. And I don't know, maybe it's because so many people have just become accustomed to the tug of war, the battle. They know the battle. It's that saying, the devil you know versus the devil you don't know. I know and can predict how our differences are going to play out, and I'm willing to participate in this so I'm not alone. I am not one of those people anymore. I am not going to participate in the tug of war, and I will drop the rope. I had lunch with a friend recently, and we were talking about some of the creative things that I was working on, and they asked, what do I share with others? And I said, a lot of times I don't share what I'm doing with others. I don't share it with my family. I don't share it with a lot of people around me. I've changed how I share because I get a lot of pushback from people. I get questions. Why are you doing this? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing this instead? It doesn't feel like support. It doesn't feel like encouragement. It doesn't feel like these people are on my team. And I'm no longer willing to spend the energy and the time to try to bring them into my world. I'm no longer going to pull on that rope. I'm no longer going to try to pull them in. Encourage them to be in a relationship, to understand me. There are areas of my life where it has become a challenge to include people. But I'm okay dropping the rope. I'm okay letting things fall away. The cost of keeping some people in your life who don't support you, when you change so much that you don't have things in common, there comes a time when it's natural to let those go. So many things in our life do have an expiration date, but we want to hold on to it and to get every last bit of whatever it is out of it. I have determined that that's not the healthiest approach for me. When I look at my life over these last few years, A lot of things were eliminated. Several jobs came to an end, some by choice, some not by choice. There were some situations that happened and there was no turning back the clock. And there was no way for me to pretend that things didn't happen, that something hadn't changed. And when I look over these last few years, a lot of things were pulled away from me, pulled out of my life. And I'm a very different person now than I was from 2018 to now. I'm a very different person. In 2018, I was afraid of things falling away. I was afraid to drop the rope. I was afraid to let something go because I didn't know what was going to replace it. I didn't know what was going to happen. But now that so many things have been pulled away and ripped away, I've learned that I will be fine. I will get through it. I will figure it out. I am okay. Things happen that we aren't always thrilled about. I'm not thrilled, but I'm fine. I'm here. I'm learning. I'm growing. There's still probably some areas where I just need to let go and drop the rope. And I needed that reminder today. If we want new things to come into our life, we have to have the space for it. We have to create the opening. We have to be willing. And sometimes that's just being willing. It's not always this physical opening, but an emotional opening. Am I open to receive? But first, I have to drop the rope, to stop fighting about the things that don't matter, that have come to the end of their cycle, the things that I don't really want, that don't make me feel good, and allow myself to sit in this place of a knowing and feel safe. I don't immediately have to fill this void. And what does it feel like just to sit in the void, the in-between place, and feel the expansion and feel what it feels like? Not to be like overwhelmed all of the time. I don't need a project every day. We don't need a project every single day. We are not designed to live life like this, and it's retraining myself. I can let that go. I can let that go. I can let that go. I can let it all go. And I can wait and see what shows up now that I have the space for it. Drop the rope. Thank you for listening to this episode of Tracy Talks. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe, and share with others who would enjoy listening to this podcast. Friends can find Tracy Talks available on iTunes, Spotify, Substack, and YouTube. Hit me up on Instagram and Facebook at More Tracy Talks. And until next time, we meet again.